Hotter than the Haktua girl on a piece of big meat. It's Supernatural News Wednesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there, we have the co-hostess, which, by the way, I don't think she's ever done that. I can't say that. She's intelligent. She's written more books than I have, by gosh, and we'll bring her in right now. It's Jessica Freeburg. Jessica, I couldn't go through with that intro.
Oh, Tim, I'm glad you stopped yourself, my friend.
Thank you. Have you gotten up with the craze yet, by gosh?
I have not. I'm out of it.
You're out of it. Good. I think I've sent between a bunch of our paranormal friends in the community. There's a big joke going around that they were going to invite her to the to Michigan Paracon.
Oh, really?
The Haktua girl, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Why not?
Sure. Sure, she's the flavor of the week. Why not? That'd be fun. Yeah. I mean, I think by August her run will have run out.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't think, I think by probably next week her run will have run out, but just saying. I mean, it's fun now, but you should see the amount of wrestling memes they've made up for her.
Oh, I'm sure.
You've got her dressed up like one of the Road Warriors and says Haktua. Got her, I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, it's pretty funny. Welcome in, folks. It is Supernatural News and Parashare today. Actually, Brian wrote in and he sent us a news article that is supposed to work as a Parashare today.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, so we'll read that right towards the end of our first segment today because it kind of fits in with the alien stuff today. So we'll deal with that way. Yeah, so interesting stuff today. I had one person ask in the chat room today, who's Travis Thorpe? As Travis filled in yesterday. Mally was supposed to be in yesterday, but she had a bit of an emergency that called her away. So I was on the phone with Travis yesterday, who's been on the show before. He's been a guest on the show before. And so, and by the way, just search, folks. It's real easy. Just go to darknessradioshow.com. Just use a little search engine and just type in Travis Thorpe, Thorpe. Boom, his episode comes up. It's real simple. It's so simple, anyone can use it. Remember the commercial that had that little slogan, Jess?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then his episode comes up. Anyways, so Travis sat in with me yesterday and did Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, right? And we gave you the day off yesterday because you were celebrating your anniversary.
I was 24 years of love, Tim.
Is that what they're calling it now? Is it wedded bliss, love? You could have said wedded bliss. I would have bought it.
I think I likened being married in life to riding a roller coaster after eating street vendor food and hoping the puke on your face is your own. So that's marriage.
Yeah, that was colorful. I read that. Yeah, that was interesting. That was accurate. It was accurate.
Yes. Yeah. That's me using my words.
That is you using your words, and that's why you make
my gift of words.
That's why you make a living at it, and I don't. That was excellent. Yeah. So everybody was predisposed. So I grabbed Travis yesterday. Travis filled in amicably. Did a very good job at it, and so that's why if some people were like, "Well, who's Travis?" Well, come on, folks. He wasn't on that long ago, wasn't he?
He was our pinch hitter.
That's right. He was our pinch hitter yesterday. I didn't want to bother Uncle Bob because I think he was in court, if I remember right. Oh. So yeah, and he was defeating the dumb criminals yesterday. So there was that as well. Let's jump into it right away today, Jess, shall we? We have a lot on the plate today, as it's known. By the way, there was a news story last week Do you know who the Just Stop Oil people are?
I don't think so.
Well, they go around and they spray paint everything. And the idea is they want to stop structures that produce power. Okay. And the idea is they want to stop anything that produces energy. The idea is that it produces waste products as well. Okay. So they're a protest group. Okay.
Okay.
So what they did last week is they sprayed Stonehenge orange. Now, when they did this, they did it with a paint that's water soluble so that it wouldn't ruin Stonehenge.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah, so they were environmentally friendly. That was nice of them, right? So I was watching this on television, and I said, well, that's rude. And I went, oh, but it's water soluble, so it'll wash right off. Well, that's not bad, right? It's kind of a harmless protest, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, okay, the kids are okay, right? But they still got arrested, So, good on them. They got a little notch on their record, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, it turns out our first story today is a continuation of that story, Jess. It turns out that our good friend Uri Gellar, the spoon-bending man, says that aliens are coming after Just Stop Oil sprayed Stonehenge orange.
Oh, the aliens are mad?
I don't know if they're mad. We'll find that out. Maybe it was just a precursor. And actually, I have a picture of the kids there at Just Stop Oil. Look at how much of a cloud they produced.
Oh my gosh. It's like when you run one of those fun runs and they throw color on you.
Yeah, right?
That's wild, just a big cloud of orange.
Yeah, they went nuts. Yeah, they caked Stonehenge in orange paint. So famous psychic Uri Gellar has issued a warning following the incident at Stonehenge, saying these types of structures produce power, and the fact that someone tried to desecrate it or damage it is a massive insult. Oh, so they're saying Just Stop Oil, they committed a no-no.
They angered the aliens.
Yeah, they have. The 77-year-old psychic says the ancient site has cosmic significance, and the Tarkin's actions could provoke extraterrestrials. 2 protesters were arrested Wednesday morning after spraying the Wiltshire Monument, which is believed to be 5,000 years old, with orange paint made from corn flour. Now, see, okay, so your daughter does chalk art, right?
She does, yeah.
And that washes away with the rain, right?
It does.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and the corn flour paint, of course, washes away with the rain, too. I would think the aliens would know this.
Yeah. They just kind of made it pretty for a day, right?
I don't know that orange Stonehenge is pretty. If anything, it just reminds you of maybe, I don't know, throwing up your McDonald's orange punch all over Stonehenge. I don't know.
They made it look like Cheetos.
Yeah, like you left Cheetos. Right, like you were eating your Cheetos and you got your hands all over Stonehenge, right? Yeah. So Uri says he can't understand why they would target something so powerful, such as Stonehenge. He said, I wouldn't be surprised if tonight or tomorrow there is UFO activity over Stonehenge. I believe it has a connection to an extraterrestrial source. It's almost like an ancient computer. These types of structures produce power, and the fact that someone tried to desecrate it or damage it is a massive insult. And he added, of the protesters, if they're for the environment, why would they damage something so ancient and so holy and so important for England? There's an answer for that, Uri, and we'll get to it here in a second. Following the spraying of the famous landmark, an English heritage spokesperson said, we can't understand why anyone who professes to care for the environment would attempt to harm such a monument and distress people from all over the world, including those from whom Stonehenge holds a spiritual significance. English Heritage Chief Executive Dr. Nick Merriman said, it's difficult to understand, and we're deeply saddened about this vandalism, but we've been really touched by the messages of sympathy and support we've had. Our experts have really managed to clean the orange powder from the stones because we're really worried about what would happen if they got in contact with water. So water is a worry for them. I mean, a legitimate worry that it'll wear away some of the precious stone that's there on Stonehenge.
Right.
So far, there seems to have been no visible damage. The site is open to the public again, and for the solstice tomorrow, which has already happened, by the way, since this article came out. Now, here's why they attacked Stonehenge. It turns out that Stonehenge is not a public monument. It is privately owned.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the people who own Stonehenge are also part of an energy conglomerate.
Oh, wow.
So the reason why the reason why the protest group Just Stop Oil went after it is because they were protesting the conglomerate that owns Stonehenge.
That's interesting. I didn't know. I would have thought it was a monument of some sort. I didn't think it was privately owned.
It's actually the land that it's not the actual monument, but the land that Stonehenge sits on is owned by a private firm. So, yeah.
Well, I guess they made their point.
That they did. But in the meantime, they've desecrated this monument that and it's kind of a stupid move. It really is. What really, when you think about it, what mark did you make? Other than,
yeah.
You really haven't done anything. I mean, the idea was they were going to strike up for the solstice. They were going to mark this monument. They were going to try and put their name out there. And then what?
Right.
What were you going to do? Were you going to make this energy conglomerate shut down? Were they going to say, "Oh, no, we were wrong. Let's cut off power to everybody"? No. It wasn't going to stop energy production. So, que sera, you live to fight another day.
Right. I need my energy, by the way.
Yeah, most people do. It's even if your demands are to try and find a cleaner source of energy or make a cleaner source of energy, you're not going to get it done overnight. As it is, power companies right now are working on making cleaner sources of energy. But the thing is you're 10 to 15 years out from doing that. So it's not going to happen overnight. You just have to kind of hang on for the ride, see what happens. Our next story, Jess, has to do with a claim from Luis Elizondo, who says that UFO whistleblowers are being threatened. He says that the former head of the Pentagon's UFO investigation unit has claimed that whistleblowers like him aren't safe. It can be dangerous speaking out about what the U.S. government has been up to behind the scenes, as Luis Elizondo discovered for himself after resigning from the Pentagon's secretive Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program back in 2017. Recently, he revealed that there had been threats against him, as well as several other whistleblowers formerly associated with the UAP effort for the U.S. government. Speaking on the Good Trouble show back in May, he wanted to make it clear that if anything suspicious happened to him, people would know who was responsible. "I would like to make this perfectly clear to the American people," he said. "I am not prone to accidents. I am not suicidal. I am not abusing drugs. I am not engaged in any illicit activities. If something happens to me or my family members in the future, you will know what happened." Another prominent figure who has spoken out about this issue is Representative Tim Burchett, a firm proponent of UFO disclosure who also happens to be a friend of Elizondo. "There is whistleblower protection, but it is a joke, and we know it's a joke," he told Fox News. "Lou is a dear friend of mine, and I take any threat against anybody seriously, especially against friends and somebody that has given so much to this country and to this issue. So I am very much aware of it, and I am very much alarmed. I'm pursuing every avenue I can to get to the bottom of it," Representative Burchett went on to say. Interesting story there. I wonder why, though, so public and so bold about it, and especially right now when it seems things are dying down with whistleblowers.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's scary when you feel like you have to make those statements publicly, though. That's terrifying.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Meanwhile, MUFON has decided to reveal details of UAP material at an upcoming live event. It turns out the Mutual UFO Network will reveal findings pertaining to a study of alleged samples of material from a UFO. In a surprising announcement, MUFON has revealed that it will be making the most important UAP-related presentation it has ever made at a live event on July 13th. The presentation will center on alleged UAP material that the organization received from a Russian UFO investigator, and that had also reportedly been the subject of an attempted cover-up. According to the press release, the material was tested both in Russia and at a lab in the U.S., with both investigations revealing it to be of unknown origin, and that's a direct quote. Some samples of the material were also reportedly stolen from a U.S. post office box before they could be retrieved by MUFON investigator Robert Spearing. Further investigation of the theft was hampered by the fact that CCTV cameras had been tampered with. This is typical with evidence of this nature, said MUFON Media Relations Director Ron James. We believe that this material was deliberately taken by someone who could hack into a locked post office box to prevent further testing. Who did it is anybody's guess. The evidence that supports this story and others that we will share at the symposium could make this the biggest UFO-related news event of the year. We have physical materials and more evidence of non-human technology. MUFON will reveal its findings on Saturday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Interesting story.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Looking forward to that conference, that's for sure.
Is that going to be broadcast, or do you have to be live and in person?
I believe it's going to be broadcast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
I love MUFON.
Yeah. They come up with some interesting stuff. And this is, by all means, is going to be, it looks like the story of the year. So should be very interesting indeed. Meanwhile, a UFO shaped like a cylinder is spotted gliding over Montana's Big Sky country, and experts say it is a true mystery. A bright glowing UFO, a classic cigar shape, was reported by witnesses for decades and has now been caught on military-grade night vision video. The unknown, seemingly slow and silently moving object looked like a blur with the naked eye, according to the Montana local who spotted it this past June. The blur only took on a more defined shape with the aid of the witness's night vision camera, made by military contractor Cyanix, which also makes a consumer model. The unusual long cylinder of light appears to be slowly gliding at an angle in front of an expansive star field above Big Sky country, just before disappearing behind a mountain range visible from the witness's location along Airport Road in Belgrade. The sighting occurred less than 4 miles to the east of Montana's Bozeman-Yellowstone International Airport, also in Belgrade. Although the eerie video contains no sounds of commercial air traffic as the UFO drifts across the starry night sky. Sometimes we get videos like this that are baffling, said Alejandro Rojas, advisor to the tech startup Enigma Labs, whose UFO database received the witness's submission. It sort of looks like Starlink satellites, Rojas told DailyMail.com, which look like a long train of satellites in a row, but these look like one solid object. Enigma has built a massive catalog of UFO incidents, now more technically known as unidentified aerial phenomena, to separate what is truly unusual in our skies from what is merely a trick of the eye. In recent years, the term UAP has come into more common use to describe UFOs, as its more cautious framing presumes less about the events witnessed. An aerial phenomena could be anything from airborne gases heated into a plasma, like the famous Northern Lights, to reflections off of ice crystals in a cloud, and on up to more exotic cases of actual solid and sturdy objects like a flying alien craft. The Montana witness spotted the UAP in the early hours of the morning of June 5th, 2024, about 10 minutes after 3 a.m. Mountain Time. We loved getting these videos out to the public for researchers to help us figure it out, said Rojas to Daily Mail via email. In some cases, they demonstrate a true mystery and help demonstrate why the Pentagon and NASA say they are taking UAP seriously, said Rojas, who is now a founder and president of the new UAP research nonprofit, UAP Discovery. NASA and the Pentagon say there's a lack of data, and that is the problem we seek to resolve, said Rojas. Enigma Labs, he noted, is now getting hundreds of videos a week on our app, and although the vast majority turn out to be something mundane, at least a few turn out to be more difficult to explain. This Montana UAP sighting, Enigma case 294125, may prove to be related to a particular quirk of the hardware and software behind Cynix's night vision, which the firm has delivered to the U.S. Army as part of a roughly $20 million contract. Some owners of one of Cynix's consumer models, the Cynix Aurora Sport, have reported that it doesn't seem to handle high light contrast very well. If you have a well-lit area and a darker area in the frame at the same time, either the lit area will be blown out or the dark area will be too dark to see clearly, as one member of the Reddit group, Our Night Vision, noted in 2020. The result of this kind of blowout contrast issue could lead to a train of glowing Starlink satellites reflecting light from the sun to look like one long solid object. It's unclear which of the company's night vision offerings was used by the witness who reported their sighting to Enigma anonymously, but the UAP tracking startup hopes to crowdsource the case for more clues from the public. But across more than a century, cigar-shaped UAP have persisted as a perennial category in eyewitness reports. In 1977, for example, 15 children in the Welsh village of Broadhaven, 14 boys and 1 girl, all reported to their teachers that they saw a curious cigar-shaped aircraft in fields behind their school. The incident, in which the object hovered over this tiny hamlet, which had a population of 856, is now the subject of a new 4-part BBC documentary, Paranormal, The Village That Saw Aliens. Like countless cigar-shaped UFOs dating back to the late 1800s, when witnesses described them as airships, this case remained unsolved to this day. In May, Enigma's team revealed 9 highly unusual and never-before-seen videos taken of UFOs or UAP, including several cases of glowing, hazy UFO orbs. There's that magic word again, Jess. Those videos uploaded to Enigma's database by citizen investigators in California, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada show UAP appearing out of nowhere without a sound and disappearing into thin air. This week, Enigma shared one additional new video case with DailyMail.com, a June 8th, 2024 sighting from Watford City, North Dakota, taken just before midnight. We were out camping and someone spotted a shooting star, the witness told Enigma in their submission. But the witness continued, after taking a long look at it and discarding everything else that it could be, the campers all ultimately grew to be less sure it was a shooting star as the object appeared to hover in the night above them. UAP are really a numbers game, Rojas pointed out. If 1 out of 1,000 turn out to be a strange, collecting them en masse is the best way to get the ones that are worth researching. And that's how he wrapped things up. Interesting stuff.
Good story.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, I told you before we wrapped up this segment that we had a Parashare sent in by Brian.
Yes, Brian, thank you.
That is actually a story, and it's a story from the Tampa Bay Times. And the headline on this is that spaceship on top of a Tampa strip club, ? It was once the house of a future, or of the future. And the headline also goes on to say, how did a Futuro house become the VIP room on the roof of 2001 Odyssey? I have a feeling this is a weird story because it involves a strip club, a UFO, and much, much more. But let's give it a try, Brian. We'll humor you here. So here's your Parashare for today. We go to Tampa, where if you've driven Dale Mabry Highway in the past 50 years, you've likely seen it. It's a flying saucer, sun glistening off its shiny silver paint, perched atop the 2001 Odyssey Strip Club. Never been, but I'm willing to give any adventure once. Why not?
We can go together.
That's right. All right, you bring the 5s, I'll bring the 1s. I'll be the cheaper of the 2. There you go. What you likely did not realize is the local landmark isn't merely some extraterrestrial go-go dancer gimmick. It's more than the VIP room where a customer can spend an entire tax return. Have you ever spent your entire tax return at a strip club?
No, I can't say that I have.
No, maybe, 100, maybe $200 if you're really desperate, but not your entire tax return. Let's not get ridiculous. The spaceship on the roof is a Futuro house and one of a few remaining examples of the prefabricated homes that hit the American market the same year that the Apollo 11 landed on the moon. Its creator did not have lap dances in mind. The Futuro was supposed to be the house of the future. One of them even did become the home of a Tampa Bay retiree and her great-granddaughter. Interesting. Another of the architectural rarities somehow became the house of full nude dancers. The full story of how that happened went untold for decades. The Futuros were designed in the 1960s by Matti, I believe this is Surinen, who's a Finnish architect and national team volleyball player. He'd been commissioned to create a portable ski chalet that could withstand brutal weather. Cheap to produce, fiberglass saucers were soon floated as a housing situation. Surinen's 12,000-pound home were supported by steel legs and boasted 500 square feet of living space, advertised as enough to comfortably sleep 8 people. Buyers could get them fully furnished or just order the shell. The entrance was button operated and a retractable door hatch was added to it. Interesting. Futuro enthusiast 61-year-old Simon Robson, who painstakingly documents the history and locations of remaining Futuros on thefuturohouse.com, said they started at about $14,000 and could be carted to any destination via truck or helicopter. Oh.
Yeah.
So those UFOs you see being trucked around the country could be Futuro houses?
Yes.
Interesting.
Light bulb moment.
Robson, a Texas-based sci-fi fan who works in IT, said he spends most of his free time tracking down Futuros since discovering the phenomenon in 2011. I could probably spend my entire week doing this, which would drive my wife nuts, Robson said. There's never enough time. No one knows how many were made, but Robson has tallied 67 surviving houses around the world. A man in New Zealand recently bought one to convert into an Airbnb. An artist in London brings his restored Futuro around the city for pop art installations. A graffiti-coated shell of an orange Futuro in Texas is popular with traveling Instagrammers. And you know what? I'll show you something here, Jess. If you look at the picture of some of these you might have seen some of these on the back of a truck.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, doesn't it?
They're so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of these have been converted into restaurants. I've seen a couple of these as restaurants. At least 13 others were destroyed, Robson says. Some may have been used for target practice.
What?
Yeah. Others were demolished or fell apart from old age. In Florida, 2 of them remain. One is in Pensacola Beach. The other is the VIP room at the 2001 Odyssey. A plastic industrial company in Finland sold the homes before subsidiaries opened in other countries. Now, that's where Tampa Bay comes in, okay? Around 1970, Jerry DeLong, an ambitious mobile home salesman who'd grown up poor in a Midwestern dairy farm, founded Futuro of Florida. He plopped a display model saucer down at 2480 SR 580 in Clearwater, now home to a Grow Financial branch. Futuros were not a hit with home buyers. The oil crisis of 1973, which stalled production of fiberglass and plastic, didn't help at all. In 1975, the Associated Press reported the New Jersey company that made American Futuros had gone out of business, and realtors couldn't sell the ones that had remained. But Futuro of Florida did sell a handful, and at least one in Tampa Bay. Gwendolyn Zerby was approaching her 70s and had trouble moving around. She liked the idea of living in a home that didn't need maintenance, and she wanted to feel safe. The Futuro's retractable door was advertised as burglar-proof, and its curved fiberglass walls could supposedly protect her from winds up to 200 miles an hour.
Wow, that's very safe.
Yeah. The Dunedin woman put down $18,000 for a furnished aqua blue spaceship at the Futuro lot in Clearwater. She had it delivered to the southwest corner of Semis and Juneau Streets in Tampa, back when the Sulphur Springs neighborhood still had dirt roads and orange groves. Gosh, that was a while ago. Zerby kept the included shag carpeting. She showered in the tiny bathroom, prepared snacks in the square kitchenette, and stored her belongings under the cushions in the wraparound couch. The only thing she brought with her was her favorite Lazy Boy recliner and her dog Spud. Aw, I have a chipmunk named Spud. Bonita Flora spent hours in that spaceship watching Guiding Light with her grandmother. The biggest thing I remember was people stopping and taking pictures, she said. I cannot tell you how many pictures I was in. It was definitely a Ripley's Believe It or Not type story. There's actually a picture here. Let me show you the picture here of her and her dog and her husband. Look at this.
Gosh, I love it.
Isn't that something?
How cute.
That is something. And it looks like they're outside an honest-to-God UFO. It's the funniest thing. A 1971 newspaper article said traffic often slowed on the street. Some stood on top of their cars. I'm sure if we stood out there in little green outfits and waved at everyone, we would have had a line going down the road, Flora said. Chrissy McGee was a little girl when her great-grandmother Zerby died, but she remembers eating candy necklaces inside the Futuro. Her friends asked her if her great-grandmother was an alien. Oh my gosh, this is the cutest little picture. Here's her and her friends sitting inside the Futuro.
Oh my gosh, these are so sweet.
Isn't that the cutest picture?
Yes. What a fun grandma.
I know, right?
Wish my grandma had a spacecraft.
Right? After Zerby died in 1979, a couple moved in. One of them was an Ybor City drag performer known as Candy Kiss, who used the space to sew costumes and throw frequent parties. When the retractable door stopped retracting, they built a fence to keep intruders out. When they left for California, it sat empty. Well, that's sad. McGee eventually moved into the Futuro with a boyfriend when she was 17. It was pretty much trashed inside, she said. People had been hanging out there when it was empty and partying and tearing it up. By the end of the 1990s, the Futuro was old and covered in graffiti. Deemed a fire hazard and public nuisance, the city then demolished it. So how did a second of these extremely rare architectural oddities end up in Tampa and on the roof of a strip club, you may ask, Jess?
I'm curious.
Well, here's how. The story for years was that Pasquale Pat Mattasini, the owner of the Tampa bars such as the Deep South, the Pad Lounge, and the Odyssey, was driving through Sebring in 1968 when he saw a Futuro on the roadside. I paid something like $3,000 to buy it, Mattasini then told the St. Petersburg Times in 1996. It probably cost more to put it up there. We wanted to get different types of people in the club, a little bit more sophisticated, he said. Why would a UFO-looking house on top of your strip club get more sophisticated people in?
I'm not sure. I mean, I would go and I'm sophisticated.
Well, that's true, yes. But Futuro expert Robson said that story doesn't line up. The first Futuro in the United States was a model displayed in the Philadelphia airport that arrived in 1969. Interesting. Mattasini died in 1999, but his son, Nick Mattasini, told the Tampa Bay Times his father acquired the club after the spaceship was already on the roof. Whoops. So if Pat Mattasini didn't put it up there, who did? The most likely suspect, Jerry DeLong, the former manager of that Futuro of Florida dealership, probably did. DeLong, now 79, was unable to speak to the Times due to health issues, but his son Bruce DeLong says it was his father, not Pat Mattasini, who was obsessed with Stanley Kubrick's film 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it was his father and some partners who opened up the 2001 Odyssey in 1971 in a nondescript Tampa building that was formerly the Shangri-La Lounge. The Futuro that landed on the roof was the display model his father had used in Clearwater. It took 2 attempts to hoist the ship onto the roof, Bruce DeLong said. When Sim's crane first lifted the saucer, gusts of wind caused the Futuro to smash into the side of the club.
Oh, no.
After repairs, they succeeded on a calmer day. Bruce DeLong said his dad, a flashy guy who loved women and partying, was finally making big money with his spaceship club until mobsters pressured him and his business partners to sell. One of those partners, Bernard J. Lechner, who's 85 now, confirmed it was Jerry DeLong who was responsible for the spaceship. Asked by phone why they sold the Odyssey, Lechner said it was the Traficantes who took over the club, referring to reputed mob boss Santo Traficante Jr., before cutting the conversation short and hanging up. He probably didn't want to get caught by the mobsters. Newspaper ads for a new club named 2001 first appeared in 1970, and the first ad featuring the spaceship appeared in 1971. Records show that Rodman Incorporated, Pat Mattasini's company, bought the 2001 Odyssey property in 1974. Not long after that, he was convicted of a conspiracy to distribute nearly $1 million in counterfeit cash. Whoops.
Oopsie daisy.
In 1992, investigators accused Pat Mattasini of having ties to a Tampa crime family because he had once owned part of a bar called Godfather's that sat on land Traficante owned. His lawyer at the time called it a rank rumor. He was not charged with any crime. Jerry DeLong ended up working as a used tire salesman for Goodyear. His dreams of hitting it big were gone, rags to riches and back to rags, as his son described it. But the spaceship he hauled himself on a truck from Pennsylvania to Tampa Bay still remains. The current owners of 2001 Odyssey declined to be interviewed for the story. These days, the spaceship is entered via a carpeted staircase from the first floor to the club. There's a curved bar at the center serving drinks and water, or soft drinks and water, rather. Black lace curtains hang over the leather booths that wrap around the mirrored walls. The ceiling is adorned with glow-in-the-dark constellations and a disco ball. That sounds kind of cool.
Not gonna lie, I want to go.
Right? 15 minutes up there cost between $175 and $200, Jess.
Never mind.
Nobody says the future would be cheap. And there you go. That is the story of the spaceship on top of a strip club in Tampa Bay.
I loved that story.
That is a cool story, isn't it? And that is how we wrap up the first segment of Supernatural News and Parashare today. And thank you, Brian, for that story. We appreciate that. Today on The Big Show. When we come back, we have got, of course, a little bit of nightmare fuel today, which is going to involve your sex life. I hate to say that. That's coming up next. We're going to talk about cryptozoology camp for adults.
Ooh, I'm in.
Yeah, that's coming up this summer. So we'll talk about it. It's still, even though summer has just begun, that's coming up when we come back. We got plenty of ghost stories for you today, Jess. Lots and lots of ghost stories, including a story about the Bridgewater Triangle and why it's being dubbed the paranormal Disney World that sucks you in. That's coming up next. And we'll tell you towards the end of the program today why the oldest wine ever discovered contains a horrifying secret ingredient. A story that was sent to us by one of our lovely listeners. That's all next on Supernatural News and Parashare on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. It's a Supernatural News and Parashare Wednesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there is Jessica Freeburg. Jess, even though it's been raining to beat the band here in the Twin Cities, we've got stuff floating away on a barge, and that's just my belongings, I'll tell you that much. It's still beautiful outside. The sun is starting to come out today. It's a little warm today. It's 83 degrees. That's okay, right?
Yeah, a little muggy, but...
little muggy. That's all right, though. It's still beautiful. It's green everywhere. Oh, my gosh. The greenery.
Gorgeous.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Love this time of year. Even the chipmunks are enjoying it. They've got plenty of peanuts and walnuts to eat and almonds, and things are beautiful and wonderful and shiny and new and bright and... oh, God! Not again. I don't know why they do this. Every time I try to enjoy life, there they are. AI. It turns out there's an ugly truth behind ChatGPT, Jess. AI is guzzling resources at planet-eating rates.
That sounds awful.
Doesn't it, though? When you picture the tech industry, you probably think of things that don't exist in any physical space, right? Such as apps and internet browsers on your phone, things that don't take up anything. They don't eat your food. They don't take up your resources. They don't do anything. You just push a little button and beep, boop, beep, and it helps you out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the infrastructure required to store all this information, the physical data centers housed in business parks and city outskirts, consume massive amounts of energy. Despite its name, what's that?
I said, uh-oh.
Yeah. Despite its name, the infrastructure used by the cloud accounts for more global greenhouse emissions than commercial flights.
Whoa.
Yep. In 2018, for instance, the 5BN YouTube hits for the viral song Despacito, remember that hunk of junk?
I'm singing it in my head right now.
Are you? Yeah. You want to belt out a few bars for us, or are we good?
No.
Okay. Use the same amount of energy as it would take to heat 40,000 U.S. homes annually.
Wow.
Yeah. Despacito that.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah. 40,000 U.S. homes annually. Just to sing a little Despacito.
Was it really worth it, people?
I don't think so. No. I never listened to it once.
Are you serious?
Mm-mm.
Well, we're certainly not going to listen to it now.
No.
Not after this story.
That's right. This is a hugely environmentally destructive side to the tech industry. And while it has played a big role in reaching net zero, giving us smart meters and efficient solar, it's critical that we turn the spotlight on its environmental footprint. Large language models such as ChatGPT are some of the most energy-guzzling technologies of all. Research suggests, for instance, that about 700,000 liters of water could have been used to cool the machines that trained ChatGPT-3 at Microsoft's data facilities. It is hardly news that the tech bubble's self-glorification has obscured the uglier sides of the industry, from its proclivity for tax avoidance to its invasion of privacy and the exploitation of our attention span. The industry's environmental impact, though, is a key issue. Yet the companies that produce such models have stayed remarkably quiet about the amount of energy that they consume, probably because they don't want to spark our concern. Now, Google's global data center and Meta's ambitious plans for new AI research supercluster further underscore the industry's energy-intensive nature. raising concern that these facilities could significantly increase energy consumption. Additionally, as these companies aim to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels, they may opt to base their data centers in regions with cheaper electricity, such as the southern U.S., potentially exacerbating water consumption issues in drier parts of the world. Before making big announcements, tech companies should be transparent about the resource use required for their expansion plans. Something just came to mind here. If they're moving to the southern U.S., the southern U.S. already has water issues.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No. Furthermore, while minerals such as lithium and cobalt are more commonly associated with batteries in the motor sector, they are also crucial for the batteries used in data centers. The extraction process often involves significant water usage and can lead to pollution, undermining water security. The extraction of these minerals are also often linked to human rights violations and poor labor standards. Trying to achieve one climate goal of limiting our dependence on fossil fuels can compromise another goal of ensuring everyone has safe and accessible water supplies. So they could be polluting your water supply there down south as well.
Not good.
No. Moreover, when significant energy resources are allocated to tech-related endeavors, it can lead to energy shortages for essential needs such as residential power supplies. Recent data from the UK shows that the country's outdated electricity network is holding back affordable housing projects. This will only get worse as households move away from using fossil fuels and rely more on electricity, putting even more pressure on the national grid. In Bicester, for instance, plans to build 7,000 new homes were paused because the electricity network didn't have enough capacity. In an era where we expect businesses to do more than just to make profits for their shareholders, governments need to evaluate their organizations they fund and partner with based on whether their actions will result in concrete successes for people and the planet. In other words, policy needs to be designed not to pick sectors or technologies as winners, but to pick the willing by providing support that is conditional on companies moving in the right direction, making disclosure of environmental practices and impacts a condition for government support could ensure greater transparency and accountability. Similar measures could promote corporate accountability in global mineral supply chains, enforcing greater human rights compliance, and so on. In navigating the intersection of technological advancement and environmental sustainability, policymakers are facing the challenge of cultivating less extractive business models. This is not just adopting a piecemeal approach, it's also taking a comprehensive, systematic view, empowering governments to build the needed planning and implementation capacity. It's this, Jess. It's draining resources. It's draining the electrical grid. It's also polluting the water supply. But here's the thing. Now, we're waiting for technology to catch up. There was an article that came out at the beginning of the year. And that was that scientists had figured out a way to use laser fusion to create electricity. But they said the technology was 10 years away. But that they essentially could power an entire city by using lasers. But now,
that sounds good.
That is good. That's great. That's wonderful. That's moving away from fossil fuels. Now, think of what you could do to power some of these giant facilities like Google and others that need it, some of these super centers, and having zero carbon footprint.
That would be amazing.
But you have to accelerate the timetable to get that facility running. The other thing is that they're waiting to find out a way to monetize it. You know, right now you know how to monetize a fossil fuel. You don't know how to monetize something that essentially has no monetary value. How do you charge for light?
Yeah, I don't know. These are questions I'm glad smarter people than me have to figure out.
Right. It has no cost. Right. So, I don't know. Interesting questions indeed. We move on to other nightmares, Jess. The class action claims Navy Federal allowed AI company to monitor and record phone calls. I know that sounds confusing, but Navy Federal calls a let me try that again. Navy Federal calls class action overview, and here it is. Basically, a California-based customer of Navy Federal Credit Union is suing a financial institution because the plaintiff, Avner Polino, claimed that the credit union used artificial intelligence to covertly listen in on his conversations with Navy Federal's customer service representatives. The Navy Federal class action lawsuit was filed in a California federal court recently. The new class action lawsuit claims that Navy Federal Credit Union allowed artificial intelligence bots to secretly listen to customers' conversations with its service representatives. Plaintiff Avner Polino, a member of the credit union, filed that lawsuit on May 31st in a California federal court. Polino says Navy Federal has a contract with Verint, which is a company that designs artificial intelligence bots to provide software to help its customer service representatives. But he says customers aren't told that their conversations are being monitored and analyzed by bots, even as they share private information like social security numbers. Customers calling Navy Federal expect that their conversations will be kept confidential. The Navy Federal calls that lawsuit. The Navy Federal calls the lawsuit, says, but in fact, the conversations are intercepted, recorded, and used by Verint. That sentence makes no sense.
I was trying to process it, but
yeah,
my brain
I don't know.
stopped.
Mine did too. It just shut down. Polino says he has called Navy Federal's customer service line multiple times. I'm sure they're pretty pissed off with him by now. In those calls, he says he disclosed sensitive personal and financial information like bank account details and social security number, expecting that his conversations with the credit union would be kept confidential. However, Polino says Navy Federal was using Verint real-time agent assist software to listen to his conversations with contact center agents in real time, and uses AI to notify and assist employees and supervisors about ways to handle telephone calls. So far, I'm not seeing anything wrong. Are you?
I think legally you have to be told that you're being recorded.
Yeah, and you are in every phone call, even with live agents.
So did they not say that in the call?
Let's see here. He did not know that Verint was secretly listening to his conversation and did not consent to his conversations being recorded and used by Verint, he says here. The Navy Federal class action says he would not have called Navy Federal if he had known. So he's claiming he didn't know he was being recorded. Real-time Agent Assist is powered by Verint Da Vinci, which transcribes conversations as they happen. It also captures the tone, pitch, and pace to determine a customer's emotions, the lawsuit says. It then suggests actions that call center agents can take based on how it thinks the customers are feeling. Not only was the artificial intelligence used on his conversations without his consent, Polino also says Verint used the conversation for its own purposes. Polino alleges that Verint used the conversations to enhance and develop its own products and train its own AI models. Okay. It then sells more products to monitor and analyze communications between companies and their own customers.
I don't know. I feel like we're monitored all the time. Have we just not accepted this? It just is.
Yeah, I don't get what the big problem is here. He says as a result, Polino is looking to represent all California residents who called and were called by a company that uses Verint real-time agent assist or speech analytics. and who do not consent to the company intercepting the call. He's also looking to represent a class of California residents who spoke with Navy Federal Credit Union while it used Variant's real-time agent assist or speech analytics. Here's the deal. If you're a customer of Navy Federal and you're doing business with them and they have those numbers already, what's the big deal?
I can't wrap my brain around this one.
I can't either. I don't get the deal. And if you're looking to do business with Navy Federal, like say they're a banking institution, and you're looking to apply for a loan through them, you have to give them that number anyways, even if they're only doing a soft credit pull.
Right.
So you're exposing your numbers to them anyways. So whether you were on with a live assist or AI, it doesn't matter. You're still exposing the information.
Maybe he feels like the AI company is going to use that information for different reasons other than what he's intending it to be used for, is the only thing I can think of.
Right, but whether it's recorded on the phone or it's put into paperwork, it's still being documented.
Right.
Either way, it's being recorded.
Right.
Whether it's being recorded by phone or if it's being documented on paper, it's being documented somewhere.
I think he feels spied upon or something. Which we are all the time.
I understand if there was no disclaimer at the beginning of the phone call. That's wrong. It needed to be stated that he was, either you're being documented by live or AI agents. Then you should be told.
I suspect they disclaimed that they are recording the call, but they didn't say that it was being recorded by that particular AI company, that third party, which I think is what he has a problem with.
That's right. Let's move on from that. And here's one that will really, literally knock your socks off. China is developing the next gen AI-powered sex doll with focus on emotional connection.
Oh, wow.
This I find creepy.
Yeah.
This is just insane. A sex doll company in China is building a new fleet of dolls using special sensors and AI technology so that they can form real emotional bonds with their owners. No.
They're not real.
Right? But some people don't know that.
It's not a real emotional bond if it's not a real person.
You would think, but you see how attached some people get to inanimate objects. AI technology has been applied to the next generation of sex dolls being sold in China to make them more interactive and realistic with a focus on emotional connection. The dolls, which are being made by Starperry Technology in Shenzhen, China, are set to hit shelves soon in the face of technological and ethical questions. We are developing a next-generation sex doll that can interact vocally and physically with users, with prototypes expected by August this year, said CEO Evan Lee, quoted in the Bangkok Times early this month. Of course, they were quoted in the Bangkok Times. Why wouldn't they be? Dear God. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, if I were feeling it, I'd probably be emotionally attached to it. Second here, my story disappeared. He said the technology already exists to make the dolls speak with simple dialogue, but Starperry Technology has been working on forming complex interactive responses between the dolls and their owners. This technology involves adding sensors and AI models into the dolls so that people who purchase them can form more of an emotional connection. Oh, that's just creepy. China currently has the largest market for sex dolls, with their sales surpassing sales in the US, Japan, and Germany combined. Really, there's really not that much going on in China that they're selling more sex dolls than any other nation in the world.
Kind of wild.
Well, I suppose they only have the one-child policy over there, right?
I guess, yeah. I think that makes sense, actually.
The dolls are sold as male and female. Despite the male-to-female ratio in China shrinking, there are still significantly more men than women across generations. Among 0 to 4-year-olds, there are 110 boys to 100 girls. But among 15 to 19-year-olds, there are 115 boys to 100 girls. There's a gap between the genders at all ages. Lee says his plans for the dolls do not involve creating sex dolls, but to create a whole host of dolls, which could help around the house and aid people in other ways. Oh, I got to show you a picture of one of these dolls. You'll creep out.
I'm already creeped out.
Star Perry Technology is working on smart service robots that can assist people with disabilities, do household chores, and provide elder care. China has one of the largest aging populations in the world. China's over 60 population is projected to reach 28% by 2040. So any solution for help with elder care, whether from robots or other social measures, will be likely appreciated. I'll take one of those robots. I'm not going to lie.
Maybe, yeah.
I could use one of those around the house. And if you could, add a glory hole to it, I'll take one of those as well. Hey! Just saying.
I just want one to massage my feet.
See, you're buying in, right? Would you get emotionally attached?
No, I don't think so. But then nobody can complain that my feet are stinky.
What if it looked like Dwayne? What if it looked like Dwayne Johnson?
That's a doll?
That's a sex doll.
Holy cow. Right. That is so realistic looking.
Now, can you see why they're working on the emotional attachment deal?
I mean...
Doesn't that look like a real woman?
It does. And she's beautiful. But she's not real.
That's what you keep telling yourself, see?
Yeah.
Right.
And we're really messing ourselves up with this stuff.
I know, right? That's impressive. When I saw that picture, I went, holy shnikes.
It's wild.
And it's not like she's got overdeveloped breasts or anything like that. She looks like a Chinese woman.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think we need to form emotional connections with humans.
Right. But like the story says, in China, I'm not talking about U.S. or anywhere else. If you're talking about in China, you've got right now 115 men to 100 women. So there's 15 guys out in the cold.
I mean, I think a better solution would be like plural marriage or something. I mean, just
wow, polyamory.
I just think it's mentally unhealthy if you're emotionally attached to something that is not real and can't actually love you back, because we need to be loved.
So you're just saying a little three-way marriage?
Yeah, why not? Better than marrying a doll.
Yeah, I suppose you could have more kids that way, or just simply lift the one kid restriction. I mean, it would make more sense.
And maybe that's a better solution than multiple marriage partners. But either way, the solution is not dolls.
But hey, you gotta do something over there, I guess, right? That's for sure. Let's move on. Adult cryptozoology camp.
Yes, please.
Throw some liquor in that deal. Are we talking now?
A little booze, a little squatching. Let's go.
Throw it in the middle of Oklahoma. We'll throw some cousin loving in. What do you say, huh? I was serious about the Oklahoma thing. I don't know about the cousin loving, but we go to Oklahoma City, where the Science Museum of Oklahoma is taking summer camp into mysterious and mythical worlds of cryptozoology, as sightings and tradition from the shadowy world move into the academic realms. It turns out that cryptozoology, which literally means the study of hidden animals. Did you know that, Jess?
Oh, I did. I'm writing the book on it.
There you go. Is the study in search of animals, and especially legendary animals such as Sasquatch, usually in order to evaluate the possibility of their existence. Here's the deal. They're doing all of this down there at the Science Museum in this, in I believe it's Oklahoma City. Listen to this. This is everything they're doing on there. So at this camp, the Science Museum is seeking participants 21 and up to experience a summer camp like no other as you explore the mysterious and mythical world of cryptozoology. They'll have ice cream brands sold at Walmart and Giant Eagle. So they'll have a little ice cream out there. All attendees must be 21 plus. Parties are more fun with friends, so you need to bring a group. They're the perfect party before the party. They're going to have a group, so they want big groups out there, right?
I love this.
Okay. It says dress to thrill, but proper attire will be required. We are a PG-13 museum after all. But they want you to be a little, right? There's always a secret room, and we won't give you hints. There's a secret room, Jess.
Wow.
Right? The signature cocktail is legendary. Buy a VIP ticket and get a free one. Ooh, there's a signature cocktail.
Love this.
Speaking of VIP, your VIP ticket grants you access to the VIP lounge with its own entertainment, a bar, and discounts or on refills of that signature cocktail. So you get discounts too when you're VIP. The theme is everything. Embrace it and you'll be rewarded. Hashtag buttons.
Buttons? What?
Buttons, yeah. It says there is no re-entry allowed for SM021. I don't know what SM021, that must be the name of it. Once you leave, the party's over. So there ain't no leaving once you get back or once you get in. So you're locked in. It's a lockdown.
Wow. I don't know how I feel about that.
And there are no refunds. So, so put your money down and keep it down. You know what I'm saying? Attendees can expect mythical creatures abound from Sasquatch to every Okie's favorite lake monster, the Oklahoma octopus.
Oh, yeah.
It's all handsy, if you know what I mean. Huh?
Yeah. Wrap its arms around you.
That's right. Like a great chimera, this night is the perfect mix of camping, cryptids, and fun, according to the Science Museum. So, liquor, you brought her. Just saying. It's going on. It's from 7 to 10 p.m. It's 3 hours long at the Science Museum, Oklahoma. Yeah, June 28th.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, 7 to 10 p.m. Camp Cryptid over there at the Science Museum, Oklahoma. Sounds fun. Sounds like a good time.
Way to embrace the myths and legends of the area and marry it with the Science Museum. That's really smart.
I have some of the activities here. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Some of this sounds almost sounds like a joke, but it's real. Rube Goldberg, capture the Yeti. The elusive Yeti has crashed our party and rumor has it he's here to stay. An elaborate trap needs to be set to catch the party animal. Gently and safely, of course. Okay. Tell me this doesn't sound like a sex game. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Rubber glove bagpipes and plesiosaur science. Put on the rubber gloves and grab my plesiosaur and then Haktua. I'm just saying. Create your own rubber glove bagpipes and chat about the science behind the plesiosaur, the sea creature rumored to be the Loch Ness Monster's distant cousin. It's a mix of folklore, creativity, and paleontology. Of course, they'll have campfire cryptid stories.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah. Take a break from the party for a bit. Take a seat around the campfire and swap some stories about the creatures that might be out there. Camouflage with the Oklahoma octopus. Somehow I think this involves cousin loving. The elusive Oklahoma octopus is a master of disguise, it says here. They wrote it. I didn't. Try your hand at camouflage makeup and see if we can give the Oklahoma octopus a run for its money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, baby. The next topic is who built the pyramids. Talk over some of the wild and wonderful ideas about how the pyramids came to be and craft a miniature pyramid of your own. And just the final.
Okay.
Final event. Tug of War. A strategic game in which two players face off in a test of strength and agility. The goal is simple yet challenging, using your paddling skills to maneuver your opponent out of the playing area. That's all it says.
You're going to paddle your opponent? What?
It's using your paddling skills in a test of strength.
I'm going to beat your ass with a paddle, Tim.
Thank you. And it involves liquor.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. And again, you have to be 21 and over. Somehow I have a feeling there's a red room of pain at this deal. Just saying.
And I want to go.
And you want to go. You kids in Oklahoma are crazy.
Oh, they're fun.
You had some fun shit going on there in Oklahoma when it comes to cryptids. I can see now why Sasquatch wants to party with you.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I see. Let's move on. A psychic claims a doll is possessed by Princess Diana, and it's worried about Kate.
Oh.
Milagros Abaracan, I believe it is, from Peru, said she spoke to a Princess Diana figurine after a family asked her to observe the doll after noticing paranormal activity in their home. A psychic has claimed that a doll is possessed by the spirit of Princess Diana after a worried client desperately begged her to examine it after witnessing paranormal events. Milagros Albarracin from Peru agreed to observe the figure of Lady Di after the customer confided in her and said she noticed the doll moved around in her display cage. The woman said the model would change positions when she wasn't looking and explained it was the only doll who displayed any behavior. The clairvoyant described that while the doll looked ordinary at first, it soon reacted with the same suspicious movements as her client had recalled. Milagros went on to further claim that the doll was lying flat on her table 1 minute and then was found in the sitting position the next.
That's creepy.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. She also claimed to have observed the princess doll without its crown at times. As a result, the Peruvian psychic believes the model possessed by the spirit of Princess Diana, who died in a car crash in Paris in 1997. In a recent video on her YouTube channel, Milagros is seen communicating with the doll after apparently hooking it up to a transistor radio. Through the radio fuzz, Milagros believes she can hear Lady Di answering questions in English. The footage was captioned, "A family desperate due to the paranormal events in their house decided to deliver a doll of Princess Diana to the medium," and psychic Milagros Albaracan. In the clip, she asked the doll how she felt, and in response, the Di doll answered sad. The psychic then questioned her and asked who she was, and the word Diana was apparently audible through the radio noise. Milagros asked the figurine, "Are you worried? Why?" She hears the doll answering yes, and clarifying the word son. The psychic asks, "Why are you worried?" And she claims she hears the response, "Kate." The doll allegedly confirms with a yes. Milagros said the figure answered Kate because she thinks Diana's spirit is worried about her grandchildren. However, it's possible the Peruvian psychic is unaware of Kate Middleton's recent health issues. Milagros posted the video on her social media pages for her 100,000 followers. One fan commented, "Wow, how scary, but what a miracle." Another said, "I found this video short but very interesting." A third person wrote, "You are a true source of miracles." So there you go. I'm trying to see if there's a video attached to this deal. If so...
Yeah, I'd be interested to see it.
Let me see. Is there a video here? Tell you what, I'll post this on the I'll post this in the description of the show here, and you can check it out for yourself, this particular article. Our next story has to do with a man who explores an abandoned hospital that even police don't enter, but it takes a chilling turn. An urban explorer investigating spooky goings-on in a deserted 18th century mansion says the building is so creepy that even police don't dare enter. Ghost hunter Moxley says a police van stopped to see what was going on as he was entering the now abandoned Meanwood Park Hospital in Leeds, and they didn't hang around. The police have pulled up outside. They saw me standing there while I was doing the drone footage, he explained. It was clear to Moxley that they had no enthusiasm for following him into the sinister-looking former hospital. He didn't even come over to ask what we were doing. He literally just sat there and then drove off, he continued. And they may have had good reason. The now abandoned building was built in the 1760s and in 1919 was converted into a facility for men, women, and children with learning disabilities. Former inmates complained of a harsh regime with stern punishments for even minor transgressions. And many staff and inmates reported seeing the apparition of a mysterious gray lady on the mansion's grand staircase late at night. Moxley claimed he heard what sounded like footsteps and perhaps the rustling of a woman's clothing as he ventured into the hall's crumbling interior. Moxley used an advanced smartphone app that had an array of sensors to convert signals from the local environment into speech. It told him that there was evil everywhere as he ventured into one of the hall's numerous gloomy corridors. At one point, the Spirit Talker app eerily told Moxley, "I am beside you," as he described an overwhelming sense of dread in one particular room. The disembodied voice said to dig in one particular location, and someone else appeared to have been given the same instruction before, as a hole had been dug in the wall. It suggested that something or someone was under the floorboards, but the floorboards aren't particularly sound anymore. And the presence seemed to warn him that the planking is about to give way beneath his feet. His friend, who was exploring a different part of the rambling mansion, turned with his own reports of creepy experiences. There's definitely something inside residing, haunting the place, Moxley added. It's not clear why the police chose not to investigate the two men with flashlights entering the creepy abandoned mansion. Although in the UK, being an urban explorer is not illegal in most circumstances. Trespass is not a criminal offense, and it's rare for a landowner to go to all of the hassle and expense of private legal action. Normally, police will only attend reports of trespassing if there is suspicion of criminal activity, such as breaking doors and locks or theft. So there you go. Interesting. Our next story has to do with the cursed Bridgewater Triangle, which is dubbed the paranormal Disney World that sucks you in. For decades, the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts has been a hive of elevated supernatural and paranormal goings-on, as well as a large creature sightings and cult activity. A 200 square mile region in the U.S. is so rife with unexplained activity that it has earned a supernatural moniker. For decades, the Bridgewater Triangle in southeastern Massachusetts has been a hive of eerie happenings. Reported goings-on have included poltergeists and other spectral phenomena, as well as various Bigfoot-like sightings, giant snakes, pterodactyls, and thunderbirds. Have you ever been to Bridgewater Triangle?
I have not, but we actually included a Birdman story from Bridgewater Triangle in our book that's coming out in September, and it's a pretty creepy story.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. And just as if all this wasn't enough, the region also supposedly plays host to UFOs, cult activity, including animal sacrifice, ritualistic murders committed by admitted Satanists, and a number of gangland murders. The Triangle also features a whole host of historic places and landmarks, each with its own exhaustive list of wild occurrences. We've done stories And shows about Bridgewater Triangle in the past, you can look those up in the archives of darknessradioshow.com as well. Just to top things off, there's even a swamp that has allegedly been cursed by Native Americans in Bridgewater Triangle. The triangle's hauntings is believed to have been triggered by King Philip's War, a deadly conflict between English colonists and Native Americans in the 1670s, which was the bloodiest war per capita in U.S. history. However, according to triangle experts Christopher Balzano and Tim Weisberg, hey, I know that guy. They also host the show Spooky South Coast. The strange occurrences are probably the result of the area's power and energy rather than a single traumatic event. Whatever is here and whatever comprises the triangle, it's something that's always been here, Weisberg told the Patriot Ledger. It's like a paranormal Disney World, he added. The triangle kind of sucks you in and gets under your skin, so it's pretty easy to become obsessed with it. It's pretty easy to become somebody that is constantly being drawn back to it, he went on to say. The triangle was first given its well-earned nickname by New England-based cryptozoologist Loren Coleman, who's defined its boundaries. He later went on to feature it in his book, Mysterious America. In his book, Coleman referred to Rehoboth in the southwest, Abington in the north, and Freetown in the southeast as being the 3 points of the triangle. Within the triangle, the Freetown Fall River State Forest, which as well as cult activity, gangland murder, and suicides, is home to Profile Rock, where legend has it the ghost of a man can be seen sitting on the rock with his legs crossed or with outstretched arms. Meanwhile, Bridgewater State University, Horrifying School, and Taunton State Hospital are all alleged to be haunted. The latter of the three have seen visitors to the hospital claiming to have experienced being touched and pulled. For decades, people have reported paranormal experiences in the triangle, with TikTok full of creepy videos about the place. The UFO sightings are often said to be in the form of bright balls of light or large, unusual spacecraft, while the unnatural animal sightings have ranged from animals that are not found within the area, such as panthers and bears, to more supernatural claims of giant snakes and enormous vicious dogs. And as well as Bigfoot, ghosts, and poltergeist, shadow people have also been allegedly lurking in the area. But it's not just paranormal and supernatural incidents that have taken place. An alleged cult activity has left a grisly trail in its wake, too. Police have been called to various incidents of animal mutilation in Freetown and Fall River, believed to be the work of a cult. Two specific incidents in 1998 were reported, one in which a single adult cow was found butchered in the woods, the other in which a group of calves were discovered in a clearing grotesquely mutilated as if part of a ritual sacrifice. To list all the ghost stories, personal accounts, and folklore that make up the legend of Bridgewater Triangle would be a mammoth task, although many devoted investigators have tried vigilantly to collate them. One such investigator who has authored several books on the region is Christopher Balzano, who told the Enterprise there was something for everyone who wants to delve into the unexplained. Yeah, the Bridgewater Triangle is one of those stories that I tell you, Jess, you could do multiple shows on over many weeks, and you'd never cover everything. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's super fascinating, and I can get on board with the paranormal Disneyland, but I could do without the animal mutilation and the ritualistic and gangland murders. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But all the monster sightings and the ghosts, that would be cool. UFOs, all that.
Most definitely.
Scared of people, though.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an interesting story here about one particular person who I believe she's a celebrity overseas. Her name is Iviana Snow. She says she meditates in graveyards and lives like a vampire and says it helps her job.
Oh, what does she do for a living, I wonder?
Well, let's find out. Iviana Snow has shared her eerie experiences on set while working as a horror actress and described how she prepares for her spooky roles by meditating in graveyards. The London-based horror actress has shared her experiences of paranormal activities on set. She's 26 years old and has witnessed a Ouija board spontaneously catch on fire. cameras being manipulated by unseen forces, and an unexplained figure lurking around film crews. She recalls when filming Dean Cain's movie, The Seven, we did a scene using a Ouija board to contact the dead. One of the other actresses didn't like having a board in the dressing room, so she left it outside. Later that day, we looked out the window and the board was on fire. We have no idea how that happened. I'll tell you how. Somebody lit it on fire.
Gonna say, light a match.
That's right. She also mentioned, and while filming Dan Brownlee's The Tombs at London Bridge Experience, I kept seeing a man dressed in period clothing hanging around the set. I assumed he was one of the actors. Later on, when I asked about him, no one had ever heard of him, and it transpired he wasn't one of the actors employed that day. Born in Derry, Aviana is a method actor, a technique used by stars such as Marlon Brando and Dustin Hoffman, which requires her to be fully immersed in her roles. This often involves embracing the darker side of life, meditating in graveyards, maintaining silence for days, and sometimes not opening her curtains or leaving her house during daylight hours, living a vampire-like existence that helps maintain a ghostly pale complexion for her roles. These have included playing demons, witches, Dracula's wife, and a possessed newlywed. A practicing witch, Aviana said she's been interested in horror since she was a youngster. In her teenage years, she was not only fascinated by films, but also had a penchant for sneaking out to visit graveyards in the dead of night. She was a quiet and introverted child and was inexplicably drawn to all things eerie. Recounting another eerie experience on set, Aviana recalled how all cameras mysteriously stopped working during the filming of Michael Fausti's Burnt Flowers. We suspect the set might have been haunted, she said. One of the cast members, a psychic medium, asked the spirits to let them finish their work. And as soon as she did this, Aviana said all the equipment started working again. However, when we played back the audio from that day's filming, it sounded like a distorted cassette tape. This is impossible with a digital recorder, as there is no tape involved. She continued, we also had some strange electrical occurrences with light bulbs unexpectedly blowing, something we usually don't experience. Doors would open on their own on set, a producer reportedly hearing a noise in her ear when no one else was around. Caretakers noticed lights turning on and off without reason, and some staff members refused to enter the building. Maybe the ghosts weren't pleased with our filming. I'm not scared, though, she said. I don't believe spirits are necessarily evil. They are mostly just spirits of people who used to be alive. Aviana has amassed 42,100 followers on Instagram, where she posts behind-the-scenes content from shoots, interviews, and pictures of herself looking glam. Let me see if I can get a picture of her here so you can get a look at her.
All right.
Let's see here. Oh, this is the picture of her looking scary from the set.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's
looks like she's rotted.
Yeah, she looks rotted in that picture. Here's, let me see. I'm trying to get a picture of her. That's another picture of her right there.
Oh, she has a cool look.
Yeah. Yeah, not a bad look for her, that's for sure. Let's see. Here's another picture of her on the set. I don't know.
She looks fun.
She does. She looks. That's a good way of putting it. She looks fun. Yeah. Yeah. She definitely.
Hang out with her.
She has a different personality, right?
Yeah.
That's one way of putting it. That's for sure.
We'd be friends.
We'd be friends. I'm glad you have an upbeat personality about her. I like that, Jess. Yeah. All right. Couple stories left here on Supernatural News. We got 3 stories to go. Here's a story about a dad who plays a dark joke on his family on his way to the other side.
Uh-oh.
Right? So, Katie Maravich revealed the shock of an unhinged gift that her father had ordered before he died, which arrived after his death and commemorated his sad passing in a uniquely humorous way. I don't know if I find this humorous. I read this before. I don't know if I found it humorous, to be honest with you, Jess. You tell me. Comedian Katie Maravich took to Twitter, or X, and showcased the dark joke her father had sent the family, ordering the gifts which arrived after he died. A now viral post showcased the macabre gift, but thankfully the ex-College Humor cast member saw the lighter side of her father's gift. She wrote, "Shortly after we found out he was dying, my dad got me this absolutely unhinged gift that he got custom made for me on Amazon. It says, 'My dad died and all I got was a stupid bracelet.' Anyway, we had his funeral on Saturday, the day before Father's Day, and I miss him."
Oh, that's kind of funny, though, honestly.
Do you think?
Kind of. I mean...
An engraved bracelet may seem like a nice gift, though Katie's father had the inside of the jewelry item engraved with a tourist trap slogan popular in the 1980s. The "all I got was this lousy t-shirt" joke was expanded upon by her late father, who had written, "My dad died and all I got was this stupid bracelet" on the inside. Dozens of replies followed and wished Katie well and praised her dad's humor. One user wrote, "That is also 100% my dad's sense of humor, and I love it. Sorry for your loss, and I will pray for your healing." Another reply described the bracelet as the eternal dad joke. Other users praised the next level humor of her father, with one writing, "This is next level humor. It speaks to the kind of man he was," and the hope that after he passed, this would bring the odd moment of light relief. Another added, "I like his style, and now a lot of people know just a little bit about this great man. Sorry for your loss." I don't know. It's kind of like bittersweet. Why wouldn't he just leave a fortune behind and just be like, enjoy? Right.
Yeah, if he had a fortune to leave, I'd take that.
Evidently not. It was just a cheap Amazon bracelet. I'm kidding. But that's a picture of the bracelet right there, Jess.
Oh, yeah. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is. It's kind
totally going to do that to my kids.
That's what you're going to leave them? Just a bracelet?
I mean, something with the inscription, "My mom died."
Yeah, my mom.
And all I got was this lousy.
My mom died and all I got was this cheap bracelet.
Yeah.
I got an even better gift for him. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
This story sent in by a listener. The oldest wine ever discovered contains a horrifying secret ingredient.
It's going to be nasty. I can already feel it.
Think so?
Yeah.
This archaeological finding, Jess, redefines a full-bodied wine. The oldest vintage of wine, Jess, is people.
Gross.
The oldest wine ever discovered in liquid form harbored an unlikely ingredient: cremated human remains.
Nope.
So there you go. That's what you could give the kids when you kick off. Drink a little bit of mom.
Cheers.
Wasn't that the myth behind Keith Richards? He accidentally smoked his dad or something like that?
Oh my gosh. No, I haven't heard that. Yeah.
In a bit of a joint? I thought that was the... Yeah. This, according to a study published recently in the Journal of Archaeological Science. This was the first time something like this had been discovered. Jose Rafael Ruiz Arabola, an organic chemist at the University of Cordoba, who analyzed this ghoulish vintage, told All That's Interesting. That's not that interesting. This macabre Net Sauvignon was discovered by accident in 2019 after a family happened across a 2,000-year-old sunken Roman tomb while renovating their home in Carmona, Spain. Among other artifacts, this subterranean treasure trove contained a funerary urn with cremated bone remains, a gold ring decorated after the two-headed Roman deity Janus or Janus, and nearly 5 liters of reddish-brown liquid. "We did not expect it to contain liquid, much less the quantity found," said Arabola, while discussing the Holy Grail-esque discovery. "Until now, all the funerary urns found contained only cremated bone remains and various objects related to funerary offerings. Subsequent pH tests revealed that the mystery substance was actually wine. We looked for biomarkers, which are chemical compounds that unequivocally tell you what a particular substance is, the chemist told The Guardian while describing his methods of liquor forensics. His team specifically deduced this by identifying 7 wine polyphenols, naturally occurring compounds found in fruit, vegetables, beverages, and other foodstuffs, and comparing these chemicals to those from wines from that region of Andalusia. Further analysis revealed that the tipple was a white wine that was quite similar to the vintages produced in the area. This made the booze the oldest wine in liquid form, eclipsing the previous record holder, a 1,700-year-old bottle found in another Roman tomb near Speyer, Germany in 1867. Naturally, pouring giggle juice into a funeral urn might seem morbid, like some kind of alcoholic burial ritual. However, the Romans often interred corpses with bubbly, along with perfume and other creature comforts, so they could enjoy a veritable bacchanalia in the afterlife. In other words, the body might have been dead, but the spirit lived on, so to speak. Interestingly, this particular vintage can also be consumed by the living as well. It's not in the least bit toxic. We've done the microbiological analysis, Arabola said and insisted. However, the scientist said he had reservations about imbibing the vintage, given that it had spent 2,000 years in contact with the cremated body of a dead Roman.
You going to have a drink?
No. Oh, hell no. No, would you?
Maybe on a double dog dare.
Oh, a double dog dare. Well, by gosh.
That's all it takes.
I got a triple dog dare for you.
Okay.
And it's our final story.
Ooh.
This guy might even be going to the Oklahoma Camp Cryptid.
We'll see him there.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Hey, ladies, it's time to get funky. The man with the world's biggest tongue has stunned fans as they make the same rude joke.
No.
This is our final story of the day. It's just a little something to cleanse the palate, so to speak, if you get what I mean. Sasha Feiner from Belgium has been given the title of the world's biggest tongue by the Guinness World Records. And it's got others wagging their tongues. As people have been quick to make jokes, the Belgian man, Sasha Feiner, is the holder of the world's largest tongue according to Guinness World Records and has left people gobsmacked, with many making the same tongue-in-cheek comments about his gigantic liquor. Liquor, you brought her. Feiner thrilled many with his record-setting anatomy featured on the Guinness World Records Instagram page and has since been met with a barrage of quips from cheeky fans. Remarks range from one admirer stating his wife won in life.
Oh, gosh.
To another jesting his girlfriend must be the happiest. However, not everyone was focused on the lewd humor, with some pondering the practical aspects of having such an enormous tongue, which measures 17 centimeters across, somewhere between a golf ball and tennis ball in diameter. Let you ponder that for a moment. Several people speculated that Feiner's dentist might not find his record as amusing, with one predicting that he would be a nightmare during a dental checkup, while others simply labeled the achievement as weird. Let me give you a visual here, Jess.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's weird.
Is that weird? Yeah. That's a huge tongue, by the way. That is impressive. Amid the social media reaction, a challenger has even emerged, with one user boasting that they could outdo Feiner's fleshy feet given the right allergic circumstances, jokingly commenting, "I can beat that. Let me start my allergy reaction." There's even a claim floating about an elusive 20-centimeter tongue but Feiner hasn't always been the unrivaled king of colossal tongues. His lengthy reign was briefly taken by Braden McCullough last year, who boasted a 16-centimeter tongue before Feiner reclaimed his title, previously marked at 14.73 centimeters. Feiner is famed for his extraordinary talent to inflate his tongue and has been pushing the boundaries by trialing new techniques to flex the muscle, achieving its most colossal size to date. He said, "I'm not sick, nor did I have to take any hormones, nor did I go to the gym, especially for this. But imagine how big it would be if I would." Pull-ups.
Okay.
Pull-ups with the tongue, Jess. I'll just have
Get
you
him some
imagine.
little weights that he can curl.
Yep. Just have you imagine how you get that tongue stronger. Fellas.
I don't want to imagine it. It's weird.
A little flexing, if you will. Exercises to get that bad boy stronger. So that'll do it today for Supernatural News and for Parashare. If you have a story to send along to us, tim@darknessradio.com. You can do it that way. And if you have a Parashare story, you can send it to tim@darknessradio.com. Or if you go to darknessradioshow.com, you can send us a voice note by clicking on that blue button on the right-hand side. Send your voice note along. You have 2 minutes to do so. If you need more time, just click that blue button again and just include an additional 2 minutes. I'll stitch those two stories together and make 4, and we'll put it here on the program. Jess, we're continuing to follow you on your website, jessicafreeburg.com, and you have 2 books that are available for pre-order right now. We'll have that in the description of this program, so you can go and order Jess's books. Do you have anything else going on?
That's the big thing right now. I am going to put a couple events up on there, hopefully in the next week or so at the Palmer House, one in November and one in January, and they're going to be really fun.
Nice. All right. We'll look forward to that. I have a couple of, actually, I've got one thing to announce for you for this weekend, folks. If you're in the Twin Cities area, I encourage you to check out the events, and I'll even throw up a little link for you to check out. Really good friend of mine, Tommy Spider Baby Saturday, is calling it a career this weekend. He is the first out professional wrestler in Minnesota history, and he's calling it a career during Pride Month. So he's had a long, illustrious career here as a professional wrestler in Minnesota, and he is wrapping it up on Sunday. He's also wrestling on Saturday for Northern Lights Wrestling, and then wrapping it up with MAW on Sunday. So he's got 2 performances this weekend. I encourage you to go check out Spider Baby while he is out there this weekend. No pun intended. But while he's wrestling this weekend. So he's got 2 performances this weekend. If you can catch him Saturday afternoon, you can catch him Sunday afternoon. And go out to one of his performances this weekend if you can. And catch this amazing talent who, by the way, has a way of enthralling not only adults, but children as well. He is an absolute ray of sunshine when he's in the ring, even though he's a bad guy.
That's right. That is such a good way to describe him. He is fierce, but he is the sweetest. Yeah.
So he has an absolute amazing way of kind of capturing you and just grabbing you and getting your attention and getting a hold of your heart and holding on to it. So he, unfortunately, I mean, he'll be around the Twin Cities still, and I believe I don't know what he's going to do after this, Jess, but I would think that he'll be involved in the wrestling community somehow.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to continue to work behind the scenes or whatever he's going to do, it just won't be in the ring anymore. But he still writes. He's an author and a writer, and he writes for different magazines. He writes for I know he writes comics. He writes he's a freelance writer, so he's got different things that he does. So he's out there. So again, no pun intended. But Spider, we wish you the best this weekend. And I'll be out there. I'll be out there to watch him this weekend. So I want to see him off. So come on out and join me at his different matches this weekend. So be out there to support my buddy. But But that'll do it. That'll do it. Tomorrow on the big show, we're talking Ogopogo with our friend Jason Hewlett from Small Town Monsters. So that's coming up tomorrow on the big show. With that being said, that'll do it for today. For Jessica Freeburg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening to the best in paranormal programming. This has been Darkness Radio.